Hi, folks. It's Keith, Victor Echo 3, Sierra Victor Quebec, and sometimes Victor Alpha 3 Kilo Echo India, which is my contest call and sometimes used for POTA. So, what are we going to look at today? And this actually comes out of some of the questions that have come out of my classes that I do teach for the LICW. It's also questions that I'm getting in emails from people as well. So I thought maybe we'd just do this. I've touched on these topics in other videos, which if you look on my site on YouTube there's a bunch of them. But I just thought this time we'd sort of just hone in, focus on this one. So we're going to call this one New CW Ops. Is it time to get you on the air? And that's really what it is. It's all about. So first off, everyone needs to know that you can do it. That's the key to this. You can actually do it. And I think the main problem we have is that so often everybody makes a big deal about it. Yeah, you're going to go on the air, you're going to send Morse code back and forth with someone, and oh my goodness, it's a scary thing. So I think first off, remember, everyone has to do it sooner or later. If you want to keep doing CW or Morse code, you're going to have to get on the air and talk to someone sooner or later. You don't have to be perfect. That's the other thing. You really don't have to be perfect. So number one, let's say everyone needs to do it sooner or later. Number two, most people make too big a deal about it. And number three, when that happens, you get mic fright. Only it's the Morse code version. So it's key fright. You're afraid to press that key and make a sound, and afraid to send a letter out, or to send out your call sign, or to answer a call. Very, very common. So let's get over it and let's look at what can happen. Well, first off, you're very, I'm going to call this number 4. Your first mistake is waiting until you're perfect, because you're not going to be perfect. You are going to make the first, I'm going to say dozen contacts that you make. You're going to make so many mistakes. It'd be unbelievable. Nobody cares. In the end, the only person who cares is you, because you're getting embarrassed about nothing. The person on the other end doesn't mind. Matter of fact, if band conditions are bad, the person may think that what they copied down wrong was because of the band conditions. In some other cases, you may never talk to that person again. Of all the tens of thousands of ham radio operators on the world or in North America, you may never see that person or hear that person again. So what's the big deal? Right? Get over that key fright. Don't worry about it. Mistakes are normal, especially in your first few contacts. And even if you've been doing this 20, 30 years, you're still going to make mistakes. Mistakes happen. It's just part of life. It's part of talking in CW language. When you're on your mic and you're talking to somebody on the other end, how often do you make a mistake? How often do you say, oh, excuse me, got that wrong? No difference in Morse code. Morse code, all you're going to hear, and I'm not sure if you'll hear it on my radio because I have a different camera on, what you'll hear, and if you're listening to Morse code, which you should be, someone's going to send something like this. There you go. Made a mistake. I'll redo that. So you'll hear somebody sending a whole string of Morse code, and then all of a sudden there'll be that, and then they'll correct it. So why should you worry? The pros do it too. I'll get over that. And I guess the other thing when you do this, like I say, number 5 for me is just do it. Don't fool around. Don't wait around. You're missing out on a wonderful part of the hobby. And once you're on the air, you will improve automatically. Your speed will pick up, your copying will pick up, your sending will pick up. So how do we go about this? How do we actually get you to make that move to get on the air? Well, First, we assume you know your letters, you know your numbers, you know your basic abbreviation. You probably know, BK, SK, BT. Those are sort of the ones that you're going to run into. And if you're not sure, make a script. I've got scripts attached to some of the other videos here that you can just look at and make a copy. But even that's not necessary. So that you've got a couple of different ways you can go about this. So point 6, just get on the air and call CQ, right? CQ, CQ, duh, DE, and your call sign, and see if someone answers. Now, when I tried to do my very first one, I got no one to answer. I called for a while and nobody was answering my CQ call. So I was getting very frustrated with it. And I can tell you, when you're calling CQ for the first time, that in itself is stressful. So why add to your stress if there are other ways you can do it? Now, in my case, I ended up going into the SKCC and did it through them. But you just got to get that first one out of the way. So, yes, point 6 again, you can call CQ, although it's not my preferred way of doing it. Number 7, which is what I think most people do, they answer a CQ. So, how do you go about that? Well, a lot of people parks on the air, right? Because the script is relatively easy. It's easy to find a script that you can copy down and use as your cheat sheet, so to speak. It's almost formalized. You know what's coming, you know what they're sending, you know what you're sending. And again, I got a video on that somewhere. So that's a common one. POTA is one of the first choices. The K1USN SST is another one. That's one where they have a very simple exchange, which is basically your name and your location. And, it's a simple, easy one to do. And they have a rule. If you're slow, the other people have to go to your speed. So you'll find that too. They're excellent. You're on there at, let's say, for instance, 10 words a minute, and you hear somebody calling at 15. So you answer them, and because you're at 10, they will slow down. And that's what you want, right? You want your first few calls to be comfortable. You don't want to be getting stressed out about, what you're receiving. Did you receive everything perfectly? Really, what do you need? You need the person's call sign. If you've got their call sign and you can get through your first contact, that's all you need. Look it up in QRZ. You've got the location. You know what, generally speaking, they're going to send in the way of, your RST. If it's Morse code, most people are going to send 599 or 559, and instead of the 9, they use the letter N. So you will hear 55N, 55N, right? There's no panic about it. So keep it simple. Work on it. You can practice sending. If you have a cheat sheet at home, practice sending. So for POTA as an example, practice sending your call sign because that's what they're going to want to hear. They're going to answer, and then you'll hear a BK. That's your turn. So that's your turn to say thank you, TU. And then you can get right into it. You are, the letter U, the letter R, and then their RST. Want to make it real simple, go 5NN, 5NN, and then your state or province or country. So you keep it very simple. When I did mine, and like I said, I called CQ, I didn't get anywhere. So I went into the SKCC. I made my first, actually 3 contacts through the SKCC. Now you have to join them, and it's free, doesn't cost you anything. When you join, they give you a membership number. Now for their reward system for them Straight Key Century Club SKCC, they collect your membership numbers. So you get so many membership numbers, you get an award. So there's always somebody looking to talk to you, especially if you have a new membership number. Nothing wrong with that. And I'll show you the SKCC site in just a moment. All right, so this is what I mean when I refer to the SKCC or Straight Key Century Club. Obviously, they promote the use of the more traditional straight key. And look, if you look here, so they've got all sorts of information down the side here. How to join. Like I say, it's free, doesn't cost you anything. The main frequencies where you're going to find something which helps, especially if you're slower. And you can keep on going. There's all sorts of information. There's even a beginners section as well. So when you get into, let me just find it here. Here we are. So they even have a beginners section here as well. So you can go and click on that. They give you all sorts of advice, help, what it is you need to say, and so on and so forth. So lots of stuff in there to help you out if you're a beginner. Nothing difficult about any of that. So if you look here, you see SKCC community. You go down, you're going to see sked page. So if you click on that, what comes up is this. There you are. Now I remember, obviously, so there's my VE3 SVQ. So if you log in, you set this up and you log in, you see people over here versus they're not putting anything special out. This person's looking for certain things. Here's someone here listening on 14050. And over here, you've got lots and lots of individual people who are publicly making comments or saying things. Nothing wrong with that. You can also do it by a PM. So if you click on one of these over here, you can send them a private message. So when I logged in the very, very first time to try and get a contact, I logged in and you can see I'm logged in right now, QRS number exchange. But instead of that, I would just put in, there'd be something along the lines of this. There, looking, F-I-R, how I spelled F-I-R. And you just log in something like that, looking for CW contact. And when you log in, it'll come out like these over here. It'll have your call sign, and that will be the private message beside yours. People over there, many of them will send you a private message. So this is like the private message. This was an exchange going back and forth between me and another individual down in the States. But they'll message you. I think if I remember right, the very first time I did it, I had 3 different people message me, and they all said the same thing. Happy to help you out. What speed would you like to do? And then we found a frequency, and we did it. You can do the exact same thing. Nothing wrong with that. Using the SKCC, then that would be my point number 8. Number 9, find a local ham, somebody in your local club, or someone, maybe it's someone in a different city that you know. You can go into Facebook, some of these slow speed Morse code groups, and say, hi, I'm new at this. I'm trying to make my first contact. Is there anybody out there who I can talk to? It may very well be someone that can reach you. Obviously your antennas have to work, your radios have to work, the band conditions have to work, but you can do it. Number 10, well, LICW, Long Island CW Club. We actually have a class. So if you get through the 2 sort of beginner levels, BC1 and BC2, you can get to go into the GOTA or Get on the Air class, and they will work you through. They will help you to make sure you're ready, and they will help to get you on the air. Point 11, contact someone you know. You may very well have a ham that you know that lives in a different city, different area, someone where you can reach each other when the conditions are good. Set it up. Just the one person listening to you. Most other people, they're tuning the dial. And even if they are listening, a lot of them are just beginners copying code, so they don't know when you make a mistake either. You can use someone like myself. Hey, if my antenna and radio can reach you and whatever the band conditions, quite happy to do it. I can send you a Zoom link and say, here's the link, go into Zoom. Make sure we can hear each other on the frequency and walk you through the process. All sorts of different ways to do this. But in the end, It's all about getting on the air. It's saying to yourself, I can do it. Give yourself a deadline. One of the worst things you can do is to say, yeah, I'll do it sometime this month. No, 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 no. Give a deadline. So if we're going into the month of August, why don't you say to yourself, 10th of August, I'm going on the air. And that's it. So now you've got a couple of days. You can sit down, you can practice, get everything organized, get yourself organized, and then get on the air. You may want to do it tomorrow. So you pick the time and the date and say to yourself, that's when I'm going to do it. Why not make yourself a little cue card? Put it next to your computer or your radio that says, this date, this time, I'm doing it. Just a matter of mentally getting yourself ready to do it. And I hope some of this helps. And, maybe I'll see you on the air. Maybe we'll have a chance to chat for a few minutes. And if you're looking for your first contact, more than happy to do it. Keith, Victor Echo 3, Sierra Victor, Quebec. Wishing you a fabulous day. Now get out there, get on the air. 73.